Cody Rhodes dropped a massive tease for Survivor Series. Also, Michael Cole dissed AEW, plus so much more. We're going to talk about it right here on The Angle Show. Don't forget, I'm giving away this championship belt at 100,000 subscribers. Welcome back to TAS. Of course, my name is Ango. I want to kick things off with Shinsuke Nakamura because Shinsuke Nakamura be talking and talking and talking and talking, but nobody knows what he's talking about or who he's talking to. And there's a lot of plans for Shinsuke Nakamura on the main roster, despite losing to Seth Rollins for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And they're trying to keep the momentum strong, but what is WWE's actual plan here? There's been so much conversation about Shinsuke Nakamura, and truth be told, there really doesn't seem to be a direction here, unless, of course, WWE has a trick up their sleeve. Now, there is this major belief that WWE doesn't want people to think that CM Punk is coming to WWE. And as you may have noticed with a whole bunch of the dirt sheets lately, there's been a lot of people saying, no, CM Punk is not coming in. And look, I can understand, like, that could be the case. More than likely, CM Punk might not be coming in. But I cannot think of another individual who Shinsuke Nakamura would be talking about if CM Punk is not the option. You know, Shinsuke Nakamura was doing the GTS. Shinsuke Nakamura was the one teasing CM Punk. And if WWE doesn't want people thinking CM Punk's going to be there because CM Punk isn't planned to be there, then what the hell is the point of this? And I'm actually really confused here. I really am confused as to whether or not WWE actually has a plan for Shinsuke Nakamura. And if so, how do they go about it? Now, next week on WWE Raw, it's going to be Shinsuke Nakamura versus Chad Gable. And this is going to be the go-home show prior to Survivor Series. I'm very curious as to whether or not WWE is going to have Shinsuke Nakamura do an open challenge, because it looks like that's the direction that they're headed. But then you also got to factor in who would answer that open challenge. Now, a lot of people are saying it's going to be Randy Orton, but that can't really be based on other circumstances on WWE Raw. So if that's the case, how the hell does WWE go about an open challenge where there's no likely competitor? And that's where I keep thinking maybe CM Punk is the option, and maybe that's just why WWE wants all the dirt sheets to think that CM Punk isn't showing up. I don't know. I have literally no idea. I have zero idea what WWE is going to do here. And I know people are tired about the CM Punk talk, but I do want to say this. If WWE is having CM Punk show up in an open challenge for Shinsuke Nakamura, Survivor Series War Games Chicago will blow the roof off. It will be the most insane surprise, because I think a lot of people are kind of in this idea of, like, now they're starting to accept the fact that CM Punk probably isn't going to be there. I don't know. I really don't know. I hate talking about CM Punk all the time because it's literally one of the things that, like, you know, when you kind of like lose patience, right? Like, you just want it to happen at this point. That's kind of how I feel about it. Who do you guys think Shinsuke Nakamura is going to do a challenge to? I don't know. This is some crazy stuff. It's a weird thing because there's a lot of continuity here, but there's literally no evolution of it. And I need to see it evolve in something big. And I don't know. Maybe it's an NXT talent. I don't know. It's crazy. Guys, Michael Cole took a big opportunity to take a jab at AEW, and the IWC is freaking out. Cody Rhodes made his entrance to WWE Raw last night, and Michael Cole, the guy who kills it on commentary week in and week out, he had to take a jab. He says that Cody wrestled his first match back on SmackDown in the Capital One Arena. He did some other stuff in the building as well. It's a very light jab, but for those who didn't know, Cody Rhodes wrestled Sammy Guevara at the Capital One Arena for AEW. Look, here's the thing. This is one of those things where if you followed AEW, you know this is where Cody Rhodes made things happen. I think a lot of people are overreacting to this, but also at the same time, too, I will tell you guys what I say about Tony Khan and AEW. If you are going to take a jab at the other company, and AEW does this way more than WWE. But if you're going to take a jab at the other company, I don't care if you're an AEW fan or a WWE fan, just understand that your product got to be hot as hell. There is no chance in hell that your product could be cold as shit and you are going to talk shit about your competition and not deliver great shows. And right now, as it stands, while I like WWE Raw and SmackDown, while I think WWE has some great storylines right now, and WWE is a very hot product, I think WWE Raw and SmackDown can even be better. And it's a very hot product. They're selling tickets. They're selling merch. They're doing a lot of great things. but it could always be better. And the thing is, you got to be careful with how you shit talk your competition, because you never know when your competition could come right by and literally smoke you. And I say this a lot about AEW because it seems like AEW was completely focused on WWE. They lost their vision. It's important for WWE to not lose their vision. Do not lose your momentum, and do not focus on these other guys. Wrestling fans aren't stupid. We all know that Cody Rhodes went to AEW. We don't need to remind the fans that he went to AEW and just did some random stuff there. Take your fun little jabs, but at the same time, too, focus on your product. And unless your product is perfect, I don't think you should be taking jabs at anybody. And I think this is a big proponent as to why I think, AEW should cool it down with the constant WWE talk. Focus on your product. Focus on what makes your product good. Make sure your business is killing it, so that way people don't even have to think about WWE when you're on fire. And that's typically the problem here. You talk about AEW, you talk about WWE, but every fan for some reason will be like, oh, well, AEW did this and WWE did the same thing and blah, blah, blah. No, listen, if you really want to have people a fan of your product, you don't have to talk about your competition. They will talk about your product alone, and that's what matters. But speaking of Cody Rhodes, man, he got screwed over. Drew McIntyre ruined his night. Drew McIntyre ruined Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes' opportunity to become WWE World Undisputed Tag Team Champions yet again. And now, this is where things completely change, because Cody Rhodes, post-Raw, went off the air. Drew McIntyre turned heel. He cost them the titles. Cody Rhodes says, don't worry. Spoiler alert, Jey Uso and I have friends too. And then this led to a Randy Orton chant. This is a major tease. Is it Randy Orton? Is it not Randy Orton? I think that's really important because, Drew McIntyre turning heel, he gets involved in the War Games match. WWE doesn't want you to think CM Punk is showing up, so what do? They have Randy Orton return next week on Raw on the Go Home show. He joins the babyfaces. Great. 5-on-5 War Games match. Sounds like an absolute banger. But with that being said, we have to address this. If Randy Orton is joining War Games, Randy Orton cannot be competing against Shinsuke Nakamura. So who the hell is Shinsuke Nakamura facing? That is a very legitimate question. I really don't know what to expect here. But as always, if we hear something, we're going to talk about it. And I'm going to share my opinion with you guys. One last thing I really want to mention about the Randy Orton face turn. I think Cody Rhodes needs to stop worrying about having friends, and Cody Rhodes needs to get back to finishing the story. Because Cody Rhodes, oh, don't worry, spoiler alert, right? We have friends too. That's great that you have friends, buddy. It's great that you have friends, but you just got to remember, every time you make a friend, and you're going after championship gold, somebody else wants to take that away from you, and I do believe that is going to be Randy Orton. I really do. I think a heel Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes is something that's going to be up their sleeve. I don't know how soon they get to it, but I think WWE wants that as well. Don't forget, I'm giving away this championship belt at 100,000 subscribers. Thank you guys for watching.